Marriage was my biggest mistake, and I didn't realize it the day I said, I do. I realized it years later, staring at a ceiling that felt closer than the person sleeping beside me. Some mistakes don't scream. They whisper slowly until your heart gets tired of listening. My name is Adam Hale, and this is not a story about hate or betrayal. It is a story about love that arrived too early, stayed too long, and left too deep a scar. Before you judge me, let me tell you who I was before marriage changed me. I was the kind of man who believed in forever, without questioning it. Love, to me, was simple: commit, sacrifice, endure, and everything will work out. I grew up watching my parents stay together, even when happiness quietly left the room. When I met Lily, she felt like the reward for believing in love so blindly. She laughed with her whole face, like joy was something she never rationed. In her presence, the world felt lighter, as if pain had forgotten my address. We met at a friend's birthday party. Nothing dramatic or cinematic. She asked me for water, and I spilled some on the floor because my hands shook. She smiled at my nervousness, and in that smile, I lost my balance. Our conversations were endless even when words ran out. Silence between us never felt awkward, it felt safe. I mistook comfort for destiny, and that mistake cost me everything. Within a year, we were talking about marriage like it was the next logical step. Friends warned us we were moving too fast, but love hates speed limits. We ignored every red flag, because wreck looked like passion back then. The wedding day was beautiful, at least on the surface. White lights, happy faces, promises spoken with trembling confidence. I remember thinking, this is it. Life starts now. Marriage didn't break us overnight, it wore us down slowly. The first year felt like an extended honeymoon mixed with small arguments. We laughed them off, calling them normal couple problems. But slowly laughter turned into silence. Conversations became transactions, not connections. How was your day? Replaced, how are you really? Lily changed, or maybe she was always this way and I was too in love to see it. She needed reassurance constantly, while I needed space to breathe. Our needs didn't fight, they collided. I started staying late at work, not because I had to. The office felt quieter than home, less demanding. I hated myself for finding peace away from my wife. She accused me of drifting away, and she wasn't wrong, but she never asked why I was drowning. We both felt lonely, just in different languages. Nights became the hardest. We lay inches apart, yet emotionally miles away. I missed her even while she was right there. I tried fixing things the only way I knew how. More effort, more compromises, more silence. I didn't realize love can't survive when one person disappears to save it. Lily wanted words, validation, emotional fireworks. I wanted understanding without explanation. Neither of us was wrong, just painfully incompatible. Fights became frequent, then routine. Apologies lost meaning because nothing changed afterward. We were stuck in a loop neither of us knew how to exit. One night, during a fight over something trivial, she said, "I don't feel loved anymore." And for the first time, I had no response. Not because I didn't love her, but because I was exhausted from trying to prove it. Love shouldn't feel like a full-time job with no salary. I began questioning everything I once believed about marriage. Was commitment supposed to feel like imprisonment? Or had I simply chosen the wrong person to commit to? The guilt was unbearable. I had promised forever, and now I was dreaming of escape. That's when I realized how dangerous vows can be when made too early. We went to counseling, hoping a stranger could translate us. But even therapy can't fix two people who grew in opposite directions. We learned to listen, but not to feel again. One evening, Lily cried in my arms like she used to years ago. Her tears soaked my shirt, heavy with unspoken regret. In that moment, I knew something irreversible had broken. I loved her, but not the way she needed. She loved me, but not the way I could survive. Love alone was no longer enough. That night, as she slept, I stared at the ceiling again. The same ceiling that had become my silent witness, and I asked myself a terrifying question I couldn't ignore anymore. What if staying was hurting us more than leaving ever could? The question didn't leave me after that night. It followed me to work, into conversations, into my sleep. Sometimes the most dangerous thoughts are the quiet ones. I started noticing how unhappy Lily truly was. Her smiles were practiced, her affection forced. We were performing marriage, not living it. One morning she asked me if I still saw a future with her. The pause before my answer said everything. Silence confessed what words were too afraid to admit. That conversation broke us gently, but completely. No shouting, no insults, just two tired souls admitting defeat. We cried, not because we hated each other, but because we didn't. The decision to separate felt unreal. I expected relief, but grief arrived first. Ending a marriage feels like burying a version of yourself. Telling our families was harder than the divorce itself. Everyone had opinions, few had understanding. Failure feels heavier when it's public. People asked what went wrong. I never knew how to answer without lying. Nothing went wrong. We just went wrong together. Living alone again felt strange. Freedom came with loneliness, peace came with regret. I missed her presence even though it had suffocated me. Lily and I stopped talking for months. Distance was necessary to heal, even if it hurt. Some bonds only loosen when space forces them to. Over time, I started rediscovering myself. The man I was before compromise erased his edges. I remembered dreams I had buried for the sake of stability. One day, Lily reached out, not to reconcile, but to check in. Her voice sounded lighter, freer, honest. She told me she was healing, learning herself again. I told her I was doing the same. There was no bitterness left, only respect. That conversation gave me closure I didn't know I needed. We weren't enemies, just mismatched companions. Letting go was the kindest thing we ever did for each other. Looking back, I don't regret loving Lily. I regret rushing permanence before understanding myself. Marriage magnifies who you are. It doesn't change you. Love isn't about endurance alone. It's about alignment, growth, and mutual understanding. Without those, promises become prisons. Today, when I say marriage was my biggest mistake, I don't say it with anger or resentment. I say it with clarity earned through pain. That mistake taught me the value of timing. It taught me that love needs more than feelings. It needs readiness, honesty, and courage to walk away. I still believe in love, just not blindly anymore. Some lessons only come wrapped in heartbreak. And some endings are actually beginnings in disguise. If you're listening to this story and feeling seen, know that choosing yourself isn't selfish. Sometimes it's survival. Marriage didn't fail me. I failed to understand myself before stepping into it, and that understanding came at a cost I'll never forget. But I'm grateful now. Grateful for the pain that made me wiser. Grateful for the mistake that finally taught me the truth. Some stories don't end with forever. They end with freedom, growth, and quiet acceptance. And sometimes, that ending is the real happy one.